So
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure you were at this one, and Tim, I'm pretty sure you were there too. But at the first State of the Startup community address, something that I don't do anymore, but and one of the reasons was to kind of combine these networks of people, right? And so one of the promos that we did was the suits meet the shirts, because I thought that there was a lot of people in the suits world, which is a bunch of organizations that primarily generally wear suits every day, and then there's the people on the ground level, which are the founders, the startups that you're talking about. And it's like, how can we bring those two together while doing it in a way that, because I felt that a lot of individuals in the suit world weren't willing and interested to go to the founder events, right? So how could we cross bridge them together to actually do something, right? And so I think I was watching, I think Obama was still president. Yeah, he would have been 15, 16. I think I was watching like a State of the Union, and he was, it was on YouTube, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. Like, they're broadcasting this not just on your normal TV anymore. It's being broadcasted everywhere. I was like, what would be interesting is if we kind of did a State of the Union for the startup community, kind of, and instead of just doing State of the Cities, we brought all these people together. And I think it did an okay job of bridging those things together. But I do think it's really interesting how a lot of people the people who are actually doing the work, if you will, on the ground level, are not being at the same events as the suits, if you will. And so it's interesting that I was, in a lot of these cases, the tweener in between those things, where I don't know why I would be allowed to some of those suit meetings, but whatever. But it was interesting to try to bridge those things together. And I think it's a mistake that the suits and the shirts don't gel more together, because I think there could be a lot more opportunities. Are you seeing pushback on anything like that? Why do you think that the suits don't show up and stuff like that, where the founders are willing to? I guess either of you can answer this, but why do you think that the founders aren't, or the suits aren't attending the same events as the shirts in that case, or the founders?
Tim, do you want to go first?
No, I mean, it's, I think that it's just, everybody, they're almost like sitting back. I mean, schedules are tough. That would be a soft answer in terms of why they're not there. But it's one of those deals. It's like everybody wants to take credit once somebody finishes a seed round or a Series A. Everybody wants to be part of that. But it's like, man, where the founders need everybody is at the very beginning to get to that point. And I think that a lot of it is just cultural. This area has a lot of old money. It's a lot of real estate money. They don't necessarily know what it takes to invest in startups. They don't know. I mean, investing in real estate is a lot safer bet, and it's long term, passed on perhaps for generations. So there's a big cultural shift there that needs to take place. And I think that there's a really, really large element that there's so much empire building that goes on. I mean, it's like, I want to be successful, and if I give someone else credit for something, then that doesn't make me look as good. And it's not, startup communities is not about individual efforts or building an empire of your own. I mean, it's just like, we're here to build a community. And a lot of people, I'm sure, are like, well, Tim, what's going on with Aaz and Techstars? Is that taking up Startwheel real estate, or, how do these two get together? And this is like, I'll be the first to tell you right here on this show, and this is forever on the internet. It's like, we can work together, and we both have very different networks. And by working together, we've just doubled the impact that we can provide. So it's
the network alone could be the impact there. And if you think of it, if we keep it from a sports perspective, just from the head coaching level, right? The head coach has a ton of assistant coaches, right? So like, it could be just like all of us are assistant coaches, right? And the community is the head coach, if you will, and they all work together for different schemes, if you will.
And and Oz, she had mentioned it already before. She's like, I'm just the person that's here. And I feel like I'm the same way. It's like, I might be behind the person from the Startwheel side, But if there's someone else that wants to take over and thinks they can do a better job, then this is a community run lab. This is not a Tim thing. And just like Oz said, if I'm just the person that's kind of pushing the buttons behind the scenes, and when it's time for someone else to step up and do something, then they can do that too. So we know where our roles are.
Yeah. And I think, that's kind of how I see myself in this community, which is, I think, a different paradigm from how, many of the top level people see them. I see myself as more of an amplifier or an aggregator, or I like to give this analogy of like a maitre d' kind of a person. Like, I will meet you at the door of this community. I will show you around the room. I'll help you like mix and mingle. I'll take you to your table and all of that stuff. I don't need to center myself in the like solutions that are offered. I want to help people to network within this community and make them feel comfortable and included in this community. And I think when you do that, then, you naturally create value in ways that you might not have even expected that you could create this value. But like, to answer this question about like why the shirts and the suits don't often like mingle with one another, I think it's because of this legacy sort of like economic development model. I think we're experiencing sort of like a shift away from this like third wave economic development, which was whale hunting, which I remember you talking about, Zack, at one of the State of the Startups. It's like, we are still very much like a whale hunting, economic development driven community.
The last year should prove that 100%, right? I mean, why can Walmart and Amazon be open, but the little bar down the street is going to be closed?
Right.
Sounds like they don't care. From a general
Right.
statement, that's what it seems like, right?
Yeah. And there's signals like that all throughout the community. And so one thing that I've heard as I'm going through my listening tour is that there's just like this, obviously a cultural disconnect. Like, these resources are very hard at work. Organizations are very hard at work providing these resources, but it's like, Startup 101, no one asked for these things. They're just kind of being like shoved down our throats by these organizations because they think that this is what founders want or need or whatever.
And a lot of those times, those people aren't even founders or have been founders. So they're producing things.
Right.
I mean,
so sorry, Tim.
No, a shout out to Brad Felt and startup communities. I mean, there you got your leaders and your feeders, and so many feeders in this community want to be the leaders, and it just doesn't work that way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely right. It's very top down. It's not, we all win when we all win. It's like, and so that's actually one of the points that came out of this survey. Like the early results show that one of the opportunity areas is like more collaboration, but more just like even playing field, sort of listening to the entrepreneur community, which if you're the three of us in this, like we're preaching to the choir when we say that, but like, these are things, I think it's like a mentality shift. And I think these are things that the people at the top level really need to understand, and that those of us on the ground level of the startup community need to really enforce. If these organizations aren't providing us the things that, these people, I've been
directly involved within our entrepreneurial community for years. And the most common question I get is, Tim, I want to get involved, but I don't know what events I should attend. Well, Startwheel eliminates that pain point because we consolidate all the events you should attend into a single calendar. Now you'll be in the know and see where to spend your time. Gone is the need to search multiple websites and calendars. Just head to startwheel.org and see for yourself. That's startwheel.org.